What if the Tyranids, the great devourer, finally arrived in the Milky Way, in their true, terrifying entirety? We've only ever seen scout fleets, tendrils of a much larger beast lurking in the intergalactic void. But what happens when the main course arrives? Let's explore the chilling possibility of a galaxy consumed by the hive mind. First, let's understand the scale we're talking about. The fleets we've seen so far, Leviathan, Behemoth, Krakenar, just the vanguard. Imagine those fleets, already capable of devouring entire sectors, multiplied by 1,000 or 1,000,000. The sheer biomass would be astronomical, a galactic-scale locust swarm so dense it would blot out the stars. The shadow in the warp, the psychic dead zone that heralds their arrival, wouldn't just cover a sector. It would blanket the entire galaxy. Every psyker, from the most powerful Aeldari farseer to the humblest Imperial astropath, would be silenced, driven mad, or simply snuffed out. Communication across the stars would cease. The Astronomicon, the beacon of humanity, would be extinguished. The Imperium would be plunged into a silent, inescapable darkness, each world isolated and alone. The initial invasion would be unlike anything the galaxy has ever witnessed. It wouldn't be a strategic campaign targeting key worlds. It would be a simultaneous, overwhelming flood. Every single planet, from the fortified bastion worlds of Kedius Ilk to the most remote agri-worlds, would find itself under attack. There would be no front lines, no safe havens, no place to retreat. The sky of every world would darken with trillions upon trillions of mycetic spores, a rain of biological nightmares descending on the helpless populaces below. How would the galaxy's factions fare? Let's be brutally honest. Not well. The Imperium of Man, for all its might, is a brittle empire. Without the Astronomicon, the warp travel and communication that bind it together would be gone. The Imperial Guard would be stranded, unable to reinforce besieged worlds. The Space Marines, humanity's finest warriors, would fight with unparalleled bravery, but they are a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. Chapter after chapter would be wiped out, their heroic last stands ultimately meaningless against an infinite tide. Holy Terra itself, the heart of the Imperium, would become the ultimate prize. The sheer scale of its defenses is legendary, but could even the Custodes and the Solar Auxilia hold back a planet-sized wave of ravenous bioforms? It's a grim thought. The Aeldari, both Craftworld and Drukhari, would face an existential crisis. Their reliance on psychic power and the webway makes them uniquely vulnerable to the shadow in the warp. While the webway might offer a temporary refuge, the Tyranids have shown the ability to breach it. The Craftworlds, vast and ancient as they are finite ships. They would be hunted relentlessly, island sanctuaries in a sea of monsters. The Harlequins might dance their last tragic dance, trying to unite the dying embers of civilization, but against a foe with no emotion, no art, and no appreciation for their performance, their efforts would be a beautiful but futile gesture. The Orks might actually enjoy it. For a while, a galaxy-wide war. That's the dream. WOG energy would spike to unprecedented levels. The Orks would thrive on the conflict, their own biology adapting to fight the new, bigger threat. They would become a colossal, self-perpetuating war machine fighting another. For a time, the galaxy might become a battleground between two unstoppable biological forces, the ultimate predator versus the ultimate warrior organism. But the Tyranids learn and adapt. They would consume orc biomass, analyze their spores, and engineer perfect orc killers. Eventually, even the green tide would be consumed and repurposed. The fun would be over. What about the forces of chaos? This is where things get interesting. The chaos gods feed on emotion, on souls. The Tyranids have neither. They are a psychic blank slate, anathema to the warp. The shadow in the warp would starve the chaos gods of their primary source of sustenance. Demons would find it harder to manifest in real space. The great game would be interrupted by a player who refuses to play. While Chaos Space Marines and their demon engines would fight ferociously, their patrons would be weakening. Could a greater demon stand against a biotitan engineered from the genetic material of 1,000 conquered species? Perhaps, but the Tyranids represent a unique threat to chaos, oblivion. Not damnation, not servitude, but utter, complete non-existence. This might even force the unthinkable, a temporary, desperate alliance between the forces of the galaxy and their ancient warp-spawned enemies. The Tau Empire, with its advanced technology and tactical acumen, would put up a sophisticated defense. Their long-range firepower and drone armies would be effective against initial waves. But the Tau are a small, young empire. Their numbers are a drop in the ocean. The Tyranids adapt. They would evolve carapaces to deflect pulse rifles, develop organisms that could jam drone frequencies, and simply overwhelm the Tau's carefully planned hunter cadres with sheer brute numbers. The concept of the greater good would mean nothing to a creature that only seeks to consume, and the Necrons here lies the galaxy's last, best hope. As inorganic beings, they are immune to Tyranid biological weapons. They have no biomass to consume. They are unaffected by the shadow and the warp. Their living metal bodies and Gauss weaponry are incredibly effective. When the Silent King Shrek returned, it was because he saw the Tyranid threat from outside the galaxy. He knows what's coming. A full-scale Necron awakening would be a war between two ancient cosmic horrors. Entire tomb worlds would rise, legions of tireless, soulless machines marching forth to reclaim their ancient empire from the biological plague. This would be a conflict of fundamental opposites, the pinnacle of synthetic evolution versus the pinnacle of biological evolution. The galaxy would become the battlefield for a war that started before humanity even left its cradle. In the end, what would a Tyranid victory look like? It would be silent. After the last scream, the last bolter shot, the last WAAAGH, there would be only the sound of chittering and slurping. The Tyranids would methodically strip every planet of all life, from the highest mountain peaks to the deepest ocean trenches. They would drink the oceans, consume the atmosphere, and suck the very heat from the planet's cores. All the history, culture, and achievements of trillions of souls would be reduced to raw genetic material, stored in the belly of the Hive fleet. The galaxy would be left as a cold, dark, and sterile graveyard of barren rock. The hive mind, having absorbed all the genetic diversity of the Milky Way, resilience of humanity, the psychic might of the Aeldari, the ferocity of the Orks, and perhaps even the secrets of the Necrons' living metal would then move on. It would drift back into the silent void between galaxies, a little stronger, a little more diverse, searching for the next feast. The story of our galaxy would be over, its legacy reduced to a single fleeting thought in the unimaginable consciousness of the great devourer. It's a terrifying prospect and a powerful reminder of just how fragile existence is in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the lore.